Minus flat on the canvas. We are ready to rock and roll. Second round of action. There is a cut on Minus.
Yeah. Jesus.
Martial arts. Yeah.
My man B-Hop, he got dropped out the ring last night.
I need a little judo baby. I need me a little judo baby, and let's do it, Ron. Let's hit me up.
I see you were filming this. You've got a face for radio.
That's got a face for radio.
That's nice.
Martial arts chat.
Hello, welcome to Martial Arts Chat Podcast. The Roundtable is back. It's been far too long. We've got an outstanding panel waiting to answer your fan questions and helping us look ahead to a massive fight card. MMA is at its finest next weekend. It's UFC
Martial arts
three title fights. So let's get down to it. Before I introduce the panel, a quick shout out to our sponsors, A1 Fight Gear. A1 Fight Gear use the latest cutting edge boxing gloves for professional and amateur fighters, gym enthusiasts and kickboxers. So local national gyms in the UK. Do yourselves a favour, check out a1fightgear.com. If you want to get in shape, get back in shape, then go to beastgear.co.uk, use the coupon code MartialArtsChat and save 15% off your purchases. They've got core sliders, straps, barbell pads, all sorts of strength and conditioning programs to suit your needs. Beast your goals with beastgear.co.uk. We're also sponsored by Feel Supreme. FeelSupreme.co.uk offers CBD oil and natural nutrition. They will assist your progress in diet and lifestyle, natural supplements and complementary services such as yoga, mind coaching and weight cutting programs. And finally, we're also sponsored by World of Martial Arts Television. WOMA.tv produces, finds, acquires, commissions and presents all you ever wanted to know about martial arts. And so to our panel here tonight, the man who brings all the chat, all the controversy, and we wouldn't have it any other way, from Micks Martial Arts Podcast, it's Mr. Mick Tully. How are you, sir?
I'm on great form. I'm looking forward to this. Three absolute winners, like title fights on the card, and then we've got some great fights as well, you know, on the undercard. So yeah, we're gonna have some good fun trying to work out who's the winners and who's the losers. But we're all gonna be winners because it's that good. It's much better than a fucking fight night. I know that much. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, guys.
Superb, man. And from the awesome MMA show, returning to the round table, it's my man G. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. McElroy. I must say you're my favourite podcaster north of the border. Forget Joe Rogan. What does he know? Forget Ariel Helwani. He's a playground journalist. He said, she said. John, you're the man.
You're the man too, brother. Thank you so much. And finally, from MMA Huddle, always a pleasure. It's Mr. Jon Ferguson. John, how are you, sir?
Great to be back. Yeah, good to be back with the boys. I'm a bit of shit about the fight game, and good to be speaking with my friend.
Guys, it's 3 title fights. I want to hear some preview, maybe a prediction if you please, before we get into fan questions. And first up, it's the women's bantamweight division. Jermaine, the lassie who ducks Cyborg, the Randamie, takes on Amanda. Well, she smashes Cyborg, Nunes, and you know, straight up, I think this will be another domination for Nunes. Probably another knockout, if I'm honest. The lioness, she's unstoppable as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'm caught up in a hype a wee bit, I don't know, but I mean, it's nothing but Nunes for me, man. Let's see the panel thoughts. We'll start with John in this one. John, how do you see the ladies thrown down here?
I'm with you on Nunes. They fought back about 6 years ago, and in that match, it was Nunes using a grappling aspect and got it to the ground among the TKO there. Since then, Amanda Nunes has just come on leaps and bounds. Like her skill set now is insane because she was more of a black belt jiu-jitsu practitioner she had a couple of good strikes, but with ATT, Mike Brown, who is one of the best kind of tacticians out there at the moment, he is on fire with his guys and girls who he gives game plans to and trains at the present time. You know, they're firing on all cylinders. Amanda's got an insane amount of team and talent around her as well. I think that her all-round skill set, she'll have the hands, the power to trouble Randamie. The problem with Randamie is she doesn't have the grappling aspect then to really change the angle of the game and where it goes. This is where Amanda can really just dictate where she wants to go. I know Randamie had that win against Usman lad where she got that strike in, but she's not going to get something like that heavy on Amanda without getting something heavier back. If I'm Amanda, I would put the hands on her once or twice and then get the hands up to get the takedown and just take it to the ground where her skill set is far superior and get the win with a ground and pound. So I'm actually going to go ground and pound win for Amanda Nunes. I think she'll just go back to the grappling aspect where she's far more superior. She has really nice inside and outside leg trips in the clinch game. So I'm going to go with that.
That's a good shout, man. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I see it on the feet myself, but you mentioned there the history with the grappling, and yeah, that's a huge possibility as well, my friend. Mick, what about you? Your thoughts on this title fight, sir?
It's got to be Nunes all the way for me on this, just for the simple reason it's mixed martial arts, and it's not kickboxing, it's not stand up. The Randamie is unbelievably good, but you like the thing is, she literally is just a striker, nothing else. She's never gone for a takedown with the UFC, but she's never submitted anybody. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. 46-0, 30 knockouts. She can kick the shit out of anybody, but Nunes is going to literally, just saying there, put one or two on her, get the hands up, take her down, and it's either going to be ground and pound or it's going to be a sub. I'm really looking forward to this. This is actually I'm actually really looking forward to this one. This could be main event on its own with nothing else, to tell you nothing but the truth, because Nunes is super exciting to watch, and just after the win against Holly Holm as well, that's already cemented her as good as it gets. You know what I mean. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be an absolute belter.
Same, man. And G, finally, your thoughts. First of the 3 title fights, who you got on this one, mate?
Yeah, I think I agree with the boys. I can't really see past Nunes, but I'm going to do a bit of playground psychology here. If you believe Dana White and the UFC, that Germaine, when she won the belt from Holly Holm, she was scared to fight Cyborg, and if you see what Nunes did to Cyborg, completely destroyed her, what's that doing to Germaine psychologically? Now that's just a theory, but there may be an element of truth in that. Nunes, powerful. I mean, she's put on quite a bit of muscle in the last 3 years. And when you say that in MMA, in UFC, there's always the chemical nutrition comes into play. But I don't know. But, she has put on quite a bit of muscle. And unfortunately, in MMA, it seems like steroids, chemical nutrition is rampant from what you hear. It's almost par with bodybuilding. But anyway, that could be another show. I think Nunes, I think she'll be too powerful. Probably too direct as well, but Germaine's, she's maybe slightly stronger than some of the other opponents, longer limbed. That may come into it, but I think more than a round, 2 rounds, she'll just have no other options and just get beat up.
So, G, since you brought it up, the steroids, right? I'm going to ask probably a stupid, but I guess it's an ignorant question. You guys can help me out. With the steroids, with the ladies, how does that work? Is it the same effect?
Well, the steroids are androgenic, so that they build muscle. And in men, you get women like breasts, you get acne, you get smaller testicles because your testicles stop producing testosterone.
Yeah. Right.
In women, you get male effects. You get square jaw, you get flatter breasts, menstrual cycle goes. It's
clit grows as well.
Masculine effect for women. Yeah.
Yeah, the clit grows. You get like a large clitoris and all sorts. It's basically.
I've never been that deep, John, but I'll take your word for it.
I go real deep.
I'm just making a note to myself to get rid of the Benylin at the moment out of my diet, guys.
Tremendous, man. Don't
forget the Horlicks as well.
God, the Imodium after that. Let's move on from the pharmacy then to the co-main event. We've got Holloway. I don't know, man. I feel like he's lost a little bit of shine after the Poirier fight. I mean, he moved up in weight. And he has had good moments in that fight, but he took a loss. There's that thing now for me. The air of invincibility's gone. Volkanovski, we've spoke a lot about on this podcast. Makes for an interesting fight anyway. Holloway's still the champ and he's still on this fantastic run at featherweight, but given what's happened recently with Poirier, changes things for me anyway. Let's start with Mick on this one. Mick, your thoughts, featherweight title?
Well, I'll tell you something. This is one that I had to speak to. I have to give a shout out to my son Max, my youngest son. This kid, literally, he's like Dustin Hoffman, man, in Rain Man when it comes to MMA. The guy remembers everything. I wish you could count cards because I'll take him to the casino. But he's really, really good. He's really, really good when it comes to like analysing fights. And we were talking about this earlier. And he said that he's very binary. And Max was like, he goes, Volkanovski's going to knock out Holloway in 2 rounds. And if he doesn't, what's going to happen is Holloway will get a decision. He goes, it's not going to end up going to be a submission by either of them. And he just said, what you've got to remember is, goes, and I'm quoting Max completely on this, because we were talking about it, because I was led by my heart, not by my head. Because I was looking at it going, yeah, I'm a big mark for Holloway. And Max was just said to me, he goes, right, 3 fights in 9 months for Holloway. He goes, so that's quite, he's staying busy. But Volkanovski's on a 17-fight win streak. And Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo, he goes, they're not jokes, you know what I mean? So, literally, at the moment, I'm sticking with this. I'm sticking with, I'm going right on this. I've got a foot in both camps. This is even money for me. So it's going to be Volkanovski, if he gets the knockout, great. But if not, I think Holloway will get the decision. I think it's going to be a very exciting fight. I think it's good, because both guys have got so much. This is another make or break fight. We're talking legacy-wise and, where you stand in the landscape. I hope this makes sense, because when you're main eventing, then great. But this literally is, again, we say this nearly every time we talk about a podcast, right? This is a defining moment yet again. And the one thing that you've got to give the UFC is when you think that they can't outdo themselves, then they outdo themselves again. This is like this card here is on a level with some of the old Pride shit that they used to put in Japan on New Year's Eve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
where
man.
Big event where you're like, yeah, shit, we're going to talk about this for at least 6 months coming up. So that's my call on it at the moment. I think it's just going to be very, very, very good. I just, as I said, I really don't know, because I do like Volkanovski, but Holloway's my man. So what I'm going to do is, guess what, boys? I don't know.
No, good for you, man. It's hard. It's hard.
I tell you what, I sound like I should be running for Parliament next week. That's how on the fence I am with this shit right now. But yeah, Holloway gets decision or Alexander to get a knockout. That's it.
No, you would definitely get my vote, man, if you ran. That's for sure. But I think you're up against shitty company, so I don't know if that's a backhanded compliment, Mr. Tully, but there you go. G, how about you, sir? Featherweight title, and still or on you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. I mean, Alex has got he's got a good record, but the names he's beaten hasn't been great. But that's not his fault. He just has to go through the people, that are put in front of him. You're right. Holloway did lose against Poirier, but Poirier is an elite stand-up fighter. Holloway doesn't seem to have any obvious glaring weaknesses. That's the thing with Holloway. And with Alex, is this going to be a step up, and is it going to be a bit of a shock to the system, or is this going to be a step up and he's going to rise to it? I get the feeling he's the type of character that will rise to it. So I think he could certainly handle handle himself and give a good account of himself. But I think Holloway, I mean, I'm looking at what's left in the division. If he beats Alex, you've got Zabit, you've got Yair Rodriguez. So there's a couple of fights left for him possibly in this division that cement his legacy. Whether he'll think about moving up again after the Dustin Poirier experience, or just call it a day, obviously we don't know. But I think Holloway will probably have too much championship experience for him, and he did sort of go gung ho with Poirier, if you remember, John. That I think he was doing quite well. Then he just sort of threw his hands down and started.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's when Dustin sort of picked him apart, because Dustin's a very smart stand-up fighter, and picked him apart and didn't go, guns blazing for the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. So I think Holloway will do it, but I think Alex will give a good account of himself.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Poirier has that power, as we know, but he was picking his shots with that power. You know what I mean? He was making sure that not everything was. It wasn't so much the Justin Gaethje style of just head chin
Balls
down
to
and
the
sweating.
wall.
Exactly, man. It was a very smart performance from Poirier, but big ups to Diamond. Finally, John, how about you, sir? Holloway or Volkanovski?
I'm torn a little bit, but I'm gonna go with Max. This is going to be it's probably going to be one of the fight of the years. I think one factor to take into account is Volkanovski's not done 5 rounds yet. He only did 3 against Jose Aldo.
That's a good point.
And even in the Jose Aldo fight, it wasn't the best Aldo. He was tentative. He didn't pull the trigger as much as he usually would. He did hit Volkanovski a few times and really hurt him. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that he just wasn't active enough there, Aldo, in that fight. He was just too tentative too much at the time. With Aldo, with Holloway, he's just gonna keep patting, like just keep hitting. And if you don't know what it feels like when you're fighting, if someone's throwing a punch towards you, you partly you tense up a bit because you're trying to absorb the punch. So what Holloway does really well is he just throws out a large volume of strikes at you, and what it does is it breaks your rhythm, it breaks your game plan up, and also it makes you kind of have to stop and kind of get your reset again and get your breath back. And tensing up is far more exhausting than actually throwing the strikes.
Yeah.
Now, the grappling aspect, Volkanovski will want to try and maybe get the fight to the ground because it's going to be a high height and reach distance and disparity. I think Volkanovski's going to try and get to the ground. Holloway's actually was surprised really getting up off the ground. He's not. He can get taken down. He's not bad defense, but I could see him maybe getting taken down, scooting his butt back to the fence and getting himself back up again. I think Volkanovski's going to be good in the first couple of rounds, but that pitter-patter of strikes, like Holloway just throws an abundance of strikes, and he's not had this happen to him yet, Volkanovski. Like the Chad Mendes fight, he fought depleted, kind of past it. Mendes had come back from suspension and all that. It wasn't the same guy. He was just getting a paycheck to get out there. Volkanovski got that win. Mendes he's not good after 3. He's not good for 2 rounds. Mendes was gassing. I think that he's going to do well for the first few rounds, Volkanovski, but I think if it gets to like 5th round, you're going to really see Holloway just really pile it on with the strikes and just overwhelm Volkanovski, especially with the jab. Just pitter out, pop, and just hit that jab out for 5 rounds. It's going to throw Volkanovski off. It's going to keep him away from you. It's going to keep him it's going to frustrate him, and that's when he's going to start throwing the incorrect strikes. I think the kind of fight IQ that Holloway has, it's just going to show a bit of difference here. Because, like you say, the 2 top guys, he fought Darren Elkins, Volkanovski, which isn't a bad one, Mendes and Aldo, but I do feel Holloway absolutely destroyed Aldo. Destroyed twice.
Twice, yeah.
Holloway's the Poirier fight, I don't really take much into it. I'd like Holloway to step away if he's going to go to 155, build into a 155 frame. He was still a 145 frame, just not cutting that 10 extra pounds when he fought Poirier. If we look at Poirier now, he's not the same guy he was when he went down to 145. Different physique completely to put the size back on. So I think it would be a different kettle of fish if you let Holloway do the same thing, go away, get the 55 frame and come back in.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go with Holloway on decision.
Yeah, you're right about it's all well and good doing the 155 on a few weeks' notice or whatever, or even just for a camp. But yeah, if you're doing it for a while, and you know this, John, and I'm sure like Mick on this as well. Like if you're filling into a frame, your training's different, your diet's different, but your sparring and everything else, your technique's different as well, because you got bigger bodies to deal with, and you're right, man. You've got to fill out that frame and utilize it as best you can for sure. Yeah, it's going to be some fight though, man. I can't wait for this. Probably that's a fight I'm excited for. Well, I don't know. I say that. That's the fight I'm excited for the most, but the guy I'm excited for the most, and I know it's trendy as shit on him, man, is Kobe Chaos. But I tell you, man, that performance against Robbie Lawler was flawless. I don't care what anyone says. I was the first to say after, I think it was a Maya fight, he was given the interim belt. I'm sure it was off that victory, and I was like, well, this is just because he's talked his way into, just smack talk. That's the only reason he's got that. And it wasn't even good smack talk. Let's be honest, the guy still is fumble fucking his phrases up and his script or whatever. But just back to the Lawler fight, like Lawler had no answer for Covington. He mixed it up with strikes, takedowns, and a relentless pace, man. Like, it was just amazing. And the commentary was so biased. They're like, well, just watch, like, ruthless Robbie Lawler's got that big right hand, it's coming. And nothing came. He had no answer. He had nothing for this guy. And I was so impressed. And Marty does man with his tweets. He does that. I'm doing this for my country, USA or Nigeria, or fucking America, Africa, wherever the company are promoting him. That's he's me too for that, whatever. But you want to talk about Bowden fights as well, man. Bowden fights was the Woodley and I can't remember his name, Marty here. That was the Bowden fight, and I hope Covington shows up like he did against Lawler. And oh man, like, I'm all in. Make welterweight great again. Build that wall, baby. Who's with me? Mick, you in?
I'm in. Oh man, this is going to be something else, man. This is going to be a great fight. Like Cameron Usman, man, you are fake news. That's I'm sorry, I'm doing a really bad Colby impression there. This is going to be an absolute belter. You got to remember, right? Usman's something else. Before I do this, I should point out a point that was made on social media today by somebody, I don't want to upset anyone who said it, but it was, will Mark Goddard, I think Mark's reffing that fight. Will he let them fight? Mark will let them fight, trust me. Mark, the one thing about Goddard is, he doesn't want to do the Mazzagatti thing. If he dies, he dies. He doesn't want any of that shit done now, right? So there's always going to be people complaining, right? But the one thing about Mark Goddard is, the guy has got integrity in spades. So he will let these guys go. But at the same time, if he doesn't think the action's going, then he'll make a decision, if that makes sense, right, guys? Mm-hmm. But for me on this one, I'm going to tell you right now, you've got Usman, who's an absolute monster. He's a killer. He's probably one of the most dangerous men, definitely, in the UFC, not just in his division, right? But he made Woodley look like a bit of a mug, if you want to know the truth, in my eyes. But when it comes to wrestling and just cardio, I think both of these guys are on there pretty much even Stevens, right? That's my personal opinion. Where this is going to get won will be in the clinch or boxing, and I really think that's when Colby. I really believe that Colby's going to be the next big name to come through, because it's like you're saying, his whole playing the heel thing at the moment is pretty shit, because he's not really that good at it yet, So he's okay at turning up wearing the Make America Great hat and those ridiculous glasses he must have got off Conor McGregor or Poundland. So he's able to do that. Yeah, he's able to do that. But his performance, his performances have been nothing short of spectacular. The Robbie Lawler fight, literally, I was like you, John. I was like, it's coming. I was like, when's it coming?
Exactly.
It doesn't look like it's going to come. This guy's got an answer for this guy. And the thing is, it's just his cardio is fucking relentless. His boxing game's great. His stand-up, just his stand-up clinch game is really, really good. And I'll tell you something, Colby hits you with a body shot, you fucking feel it. Yeah, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I really think that's the part that most people are overlooking here. Because when you get two guys as equal as this, it's going to be, without sounding like Simon Cowell, it's going to be the X factor. It's going to be the one thing that one of them hasn't got. And I think it's going to be an absolute. I think it's going to be a great fight. That's for definite. I don't think it's going to be an early stoppage. I reckon personally, Colby to just outwork him for 5 rounds. But it's going to be a beat. It's going to be both guys are going to be beat down. That's the only thing I do know. But they're gonna try and out wrestle each other, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a good one. But I'm saying Colby. I'm going to say Colby is going to get his hand raised.
Fair play, man. John, how about you? Who walks out the undisputed welterweight champ?
I'm going to go Colby as well.
Yes.
I am legit going Colby. I've watched a ton of tape on the pair of them. You got Usman, who he's had one stoppage against Moraes, and that was it. And other than that, he's just done what he does well. He just goes to his bread and butter, which I don't begrudge anyone doing. He's dominant, powerful, and I said he'd win the title. I knew he'd win the title at some point. You watch the Tyron Woodley fight, and Tyron was just not in that fight. He wasn't in that fight from the get-go.
He just didn't look interested. He was like looking around.
He looked like he could not give a. It looked like he couldn't give a fuck.
Yep.
He was just like, I just can't. It just wasn't. It wasn't on that night. Now, fighters have that. They'll have times when they peak and they're on form, and there's times when they're off. And he just had that bad day. That bad day when he had the wrong day to be off, and he just got. You could see in his face. He just was like, I've got no answers. I can't. I'm not going to do anything here. And he was like, I was like, Tyron, you got heavy hands. You have to land one of those hits on Usman, and that will rock his world. And he just didn't let his hands go. Robbie Lawler, exact same. Robbie Lawler, first 2 rounds, looked like he was going to try and find that left hand, drop that bomb on Colby. And after that second round, he kind of just didn't have the answers. He was just tentative, holding back. And you got to look at the number stats. Look at the numbers that Colby put there. If it was like 500 strikes or something, he threw an obscene amount of strikes. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they were heavy shots, but what they did do, like I said with Holloway, they stop you fighting. Because you can't guarantee that strike or the following strike isn't going to be a power one. And Colby's smart. He'll throw 10, throw one hard strike, and just carry on doing the same thing. You just don't know when it's coming. And it's frustrating. And I think it's going to be similar again. I think Colby's going to want to keep on the feet and just pitter-patter and just throw a relentless barrage of strikes. Because Usman's got a couple of good heavy strikes on him, but he's not a numbers man. He will not throw the numbers that Colby will. And then when it comes to the grappling aspect, you'll see some fantastic switches, reversals, transitions. But I think Colby will be the one who initiates any takedown attempt. But I think he'll try to keep it standing just as much as he can each round, because he will and should have the better advantage there. His conditioning's through the roof, so his punches, taking a punch is huge. Because with your conditioning being nice and high, it helps your recovery. He can take a punch well. I think he'll just outwork Usman in that sense. I think it'll be a tight fight. I think it'll be a great fight. But I'm going Colby here.
No, fair play, man. Now, I like what you said about comparing the Lawler Covington performance with Tyron Woodley and Usman. I beg to differ a wee bit though with Lawler. I mean, I think he did his best to do what he normally does. He's corner shooting. Like last minute, Rob, you got to go for it, and he was doing his best to try and swing. And I think he did connect, but by that point, the shots just don't have the kind of sting that they would have had. Yeah, exactly, man. So he did land, and one could make the argument that, well, he had a shot from Robbie Lawler, but like 4.5 minutes into the final round, that's just not the same Robbie Lawler. But that's testament to Covington, man. Like you said, the pace is relentless. He mixes it up fantastically well with strikes, takedowns. You're thinking about the takedown because the strikes are coming. You're thinking about the strikes because the takedowns coming. It was just like I was so, and I can't emphasize enough, man. I couldn't give a fuck about the guy before that fight. I got to be honest. Even when he was walking out to the Kurt Angle music, I mean that should have had me jumping up and down, and I was still like, "Oh, this is typical cheesy nonsense." And then when I saw the fight, I think we're all kind of cut from the same cloth here, where a lot of us, all of that is just gravy. We're the kind of fans that just want to get to the fight, right? And when we saw Fight Night and I saw how he performed, I was like, oh, this guy will do for me, man. That's a fantastic performance. G, what were your thoughts? Main event of the evening. Who you got, sir?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Covington, but I'd just like to say a comment on Mark Goddard. I agree. He probably will see, the fighter's perspective, but he had a pretty good amateur record around the Birmingham area. I remember going to see his fight 8 years ago, a couple of his fights. So he obviously understands the fight game because he's been there.
As well. Mark's still teaching no-gi at my good friend Stuart Quilt's place.
Is that in Erdington or Birmingham?
No, not Erdington. I've got to give a shout out to my mate Andy McCready. I train there on a Thursday. No, over in Grayson Barrow, Hells Owen. But Mark was really, really good back in the early days.
Yeah.
Where we're talking, this is when they were still money laundering money through that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mark was a standout fighter.
He was.
Easily the best wrestler easily the best wrestler at heavyweight of that era.
In that era.
Was he a
yeah.
heavyweight? Was he? God,
That's
that's
what
right.
a lot of
Wow.
people don't.
Yeah, he was quite a big heavyweight, yeah.
Yeah, then he went to light heavyweight, didn't he, for pro?
Oh man, I tell you something. When Goddard stands next to you, man, you start thinking to yourself, I didn't realise they made superheroes like that. They built him when
He's
Mick
big.
was cheap. The guy's still huge.
Yeah. So
Goddard gets he gets a lot of shit. My neck of the woods. I won't name names or say who, but I think it's just. I mean, I love my brothers at the Scottish Hit Squad, but I think there's a few shitty decisions, and he happened to be the guy who was reffing, you know. But anytime I've interviewed Mark once or twice at shows, and he's always struck me as a nice guy, a very level-headed guy. And anytime I've seen him ref, he always he knows his
very
shit,
level-headed. Yeah, no, obviously he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's gone into the referee game and made a very, very big success of it. So, but Covington, I think like you, John, I've sort of grown into him a bit. His trash talk was so transparent.
Oh, it's
it was
awful.
ridiculous.
No.
Yeah, but he's sort of built up on that. He's making less mistakes. He's got a bit of a gimmick. I don't mind. He's very WWE, and he's loving it. And like you said, the Kurt Angle music. And I think he wants to come in on next week on that music as well. He's going to talk to Bobby Lashley, apparently, who trains at ATT, and then that's how he got to know Kurt, or sort of got in contact with Kurt in the first place. But Covington, his cardio's obviously through the roof. He's a volume striker, sort of Holloway, Nick Diaz, sort of Nate Diaz type of, not going to really knock you out with one blow, but they disturb your sort of your algorithm of the way you're thinking in your brain. And the barrage and volume of punches. But, going back to the Robbie Lawler fight, Robbie did go, if you watch it again, he did go for it in the first 30 to 45 seconds, and he did swing. And the most impressive thing from Colby, he literally stood in range and tried to work it out. For a wrestler, he could have easily gone down with the sign of a first punch and, gone for a single leg, double leg.
Yeah.
If you remember Anthony Johnson, when he was on say, he fought Ryan Bader, and Ryan Bader was on the other side of the cage and tried to do a takedown from 27 yards. That's how scared he was. But he literally dived like a swimming dive. Yeah,
that's right.
And but Colby stood there and took a few and sort of worked it out. And like you said, he mixes it up: kick, punch, kick, takedown. And he reminds me a bit of when Cain Velasquez fought JDS. Obviously, the first fight he got knocked down pretty quickly, but the next two he just kept punching, kicking, wrestling up against the fence. And I reckon it will be a bit of back and forth before Marty. And psychologically, I mean, to us, he's a bit of a gimmick, but he's really getting into Marty's head. He's said things about his father and about his dress sense. The curtains when he came in the Nigerian national dress, and it was quite funny because I can't remember which press. It was the big press conference where they bring out 4 title fights and 8 fighters or 10 fighters, and Usman said to Colby about, "Oh, you're going to call the police?" Because obviously before that, when Fabrizio Verdum threw a boomerang in Australia, as you do in Australia, boomerang. Well, you don't have a knife.
No, call that a knife.
You call that a knife, mate? Yeah, and he said, "You're going to call the police." And I was looking at that, and I thought Colby should have come back and said, "The only police I'm going to call is the fashion police for what you're wearing."
Yeah, of course, but that wasn't in the script. That's how exactly, man. He's like Mish Kumar.
Yeah.
He needs a prepared script.
See,
Exactly.
I'm a natural, so I don't need a script.
There you go. You'd have been there.
Colby had never seen Coming to America. You know what I mean? He had no idea.
Yes.
I'm telling you, there's nothing more fashionable than a Nigerian going to church on a Sunday morning. I don't care what you say. I'm telling you. Yeah, you see those guys walking down the road and you're going, if I could pull that panache off, I'd be doing it myself.
If I was Colby, I'd start calling Usman Brother Numsky. Brother Numsky, how are you?
Beef jerky. Yeah, nice. That's a good one. I like it.
But I think he'll get into, he's already in his head, because in the face-off in the last conference a few weeks ago, Marty came in with his shirt off, which was a which was quite a good comeback, to get in your face. But I think Colby won't be scared of his punching, so he'll be nicely in range and he'll mix it up better. And maybe in the 4th and 5th round, he'll become more dominant. And they haven't got the record with a great number of finishes. So I'm going to say a pretty comfortable decision for Colby.
I like it, man. Guys, it's time for the final part of the show, and it's my favourite, answering fan questions. I'll remind the panel of the one rule we have on the podcast, and it's simply don't wait your turn. The floor is yours, guys. So for Eddie, we'll start with the Twitter questions this week. At Else for Elf, Tito Ortiz for the bell after rear naked choke against Alberto Del Rio. Who's with me? I didn't see this. Was that what happened?
I didn't see it. No.
Was this an MMA fight, right?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Pay-per-view on Combate Americas.
Oh, fuck.
Pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view? I wonder how that was understood.
Is that Alberto Del Rio? The
rest.
He fought, who did he fight? He fought Crocop, I remember that, with the mask.
He went professionally in MMA, yeah.
In Pride? Well, no, it wasn't Pride, but it was in Japan, I think, yeah.
Hey, man, I'm telling you. When did he fight Crocop, though? Without being...
God.
10 plus years ago.
Yeah, it was back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, it was in Japan. Yeah,
it's got to be.
Wow. That was when Crocop was still sending, funeral ones.
Cemetery. Yeah.
Was it retirement home or ambulance? I remember was a left leg or something like that.
Left kick hospital, right kick cemetery.
And I tell you what, Crocop was a badass. I didn't realise that though. Oh, Tito should give it up, man. There's, we've said this so.
It's just getting gimme fights.
Yeah, what the fuck is he doing, man? Like, he drags the carcass up of fucking Chuck Liddell and knocks him out, and you're meant to feel good about that. And now you're fighting Alberto Del Rio. I don't know.
John,
two bums.
Sorry, boys.
Like, Chuck's a bum. Chuck's a bum nowadays. You know what I mean? He's like chin had gone. He was nowhere. He was fragile, old man. He's now effectively a bum. He's not a legend that he was, so to speak. He wasn't prime.
Sad, man. It's really
now
sad.
An old man. So he's a bum.
Chuck was right place, right time. Good takedown defense when no one could take anyone down anyway, right? He had that receding hairline Mohican thing going on.
He had a six-pack.
I'll tell you what, he looked like Magua in reverse, from Last of the Mohicans, with Daniel Day-Lewis. He had this. It was awful looking anyway. But the thing is, when I look at this and I look at Tito Ortiz, it's one of those. I might have to do it by Twitter because he probably still would batter me. But it's that point where you go, look, Tito, you made a ton of money and you married Jenna Jameson. How greedy are you, dude? You know what I mean? You made a ton of money at MMA and you're married to a porn star. Trust me, you did all right. You've had your share of success. Step to one side now. But yeah, that to me that does nothing but devalue. It just turns the sport into a laughing stock, really, right?
Yeah, they need that Veterans League, don't they? They talked about Tito's mentioning everything. They did that Veterans League. I'm like, no.
I mean, I don't mind the idea of a Veterans League, but it needs to have legit guys in it, not fucking.
Yeah.
Not washed up on the
If they get that Veterans League, I hope they get it sponsored by that. Remember that drug that Robert De Niro took in Awakenings to wake him up to straighten out that Parkinson's disease or that fucked up sleep sickness he had?
No, what the fuck?
Do you remember that movie Awakenings? Yeah.
No, I've not seen that one.
The thing is, the last thing that MMA needs is 50-plus-year-old men fighting each other because it's not going to end well for them anyway. Most of those guys are going to end up looking like Michael J. Fox pretty quick anyway. You know what I mean? So they But did I say something controversial then? You know what I mean? I don't even know what his record is, Michael J. Fox. I know didn't he fight Biff Tannen twice? I can't remember. I don't know. I think one of those was a no contest. But no, look, it's not going to end well for the sport. That's what I should say anyway. I should have phrased that a little bit more politely. Sorry, John, you might have to edit that last one out.
Michael J. Fox. He's 0-1 against the Martians. I remember that from that movie. My God, man. That's Michelle for weight. After getting screwed by the judges, her words again. Will Calvillo move up to flyweight after missing weight again? and continue pissing and moaning there.
Oh God. All I can think is, if you miss weight, what are you, Anthony Rumble Johnson? You know what I mean? It's not hard to make
Or
weight.
Calvin Gastelman, the most
Yeah,
recent.
yeah, exactly. It literally, making weight in MMA is like being told to turn up at work at 9 o'clock.
Well, Calvin's got a good answer. Just lean on your coach. That's what your coach is there for, to lean on.
Yeah.
Really?
In good times and hard times.
Yeah.
Lean on me. What's that song? Lean on me.
Yeah.
She's missed weight a few times though, right? I want to say. Cynthia Calvillo.
Yeah.
She needs to get to the Performance Institute and do tests and see if it's possible to stay out that way.
Yes. I'm saying nothing on that one.
Fair enough. At Casual Fan Bob, what next for Big Ben after victory against the Skyscraper?
He didn't win. It was a draw, wasn't it? Just didn't it go to like a decision draw or something like? 'Cause he got
I thought he lost. Was it a draw? This guy's fucked up. Casual Fan Bob, you're shit.
Well, even I thought it was in a day.
He won.
He win.
Did he win?
Yeah.
I thought he got disqualified for eye pokes or low blows or something. What was it, hand? Maybe I'm wrong.
What? I'm Ben Rothwell.
Yeah,
And
Stephen Struve. Yeah.
I thought I just read that he got the win. Let me.
Oh, see, I didn't watch the fight. Dog shit.
I'm just checking online, and he says knockout. Ben Rothwell finishes Stephen Struve.
Yeah. Well, have a look at the records on both of these guys. Like 29 and 17. You know?
Yeah, that's heavy.
Ben's been awful since come back from suspension. It's a fight I was never interested in watching Ben Rothwell again. And same with Stephen Struve. The pair of them, I'm not interested in watching them.
No.
So Ben Rothwell got doctor point for repeated groin kicks, but then he finished Stephen Struve.
Yeah, he got I think he kicked him in the nuts twice.
Yeah.
Am I the only person who looks at Ben Rothwell and thinks that he's a white version of Daniel Cormier? You know, when you see the pair of them, you look at both of them and you think, guys, you guys ever thought about going on ketogenic diet?
Rothwell went on steroids, but didn't work.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
He got
anyway, at Yella and Hella, who wins in a 5-round fight between Corbin and Johnson with Swinson as the referee?
Swinson wins. Yeah, she'd drag both of them.
It all depends who turns up, doesn't it? You know, it's going to be a hard one. You know, I truly believe that Boris Johnson's the most dangerous man in politics ever, and when you consider that Jeremy Corbyn was friends with the IRA, that's a pretty fucking heavy statement.
Well, you know what Johnson could say to Corbyn to get him riled up. He's just telling him he's a Jew. You know.
He went there.
I knew he didn't go there. I'll tell you something. Like, trust me, I don't. All of that nonsense in the Middle East just makes my head hurt anyway. But all I can't work out is how can you be anti-Zionist, meaning anti-Jew? You know, it's like being anti-white man and being anti-Nazi. There's a huge difference between the two of them. You know what I mean? But it's like I don't know. I think Johnson should just be strong and stable. Is that a bad pun to use? Yeah, I think. Yeah, Johnson to win it. I tell you who would have won it: intergender champion Margaret Thatcher. Swear to God. But having said that, it was a 15-year-old. Oh no, she was pretty good against minuses too. Hey, boom, I'm here all week.
But she had a great name for MMA, Iron Lady. Yeah.
Iron Lady.
Oh, imagine.
Are we talking about testosterone again? And you know those. What was that? I heard at one point something about clitorises, and I actually turned off. When I heard that part, I was like, I don't want to hear any of this. That's the Irish Catholic.
Enlarged clitoris, I believe, was the medical term.
Enlarged. Yeah.
There you go. That's it. Well, the Iron Lady. What would Margaret Thatcher's walkout be music? That'd be fuck, man. What would
the Undertaker soundtrack.
Now you're talking.
That's a good show.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Did she? I don't. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of Margaret Thatcher, but did she have a bit of Michael J. Fox at the end as well in her life? Didn't she have Parkinson's?
Yeah. But she was like nearly 80, wasn't she?
I think she was up there, man. I think it was.
Yeah. Wherever she is, I hope they're playing AC/DC and she's burning to a fucking crisp now. I'll tell you that much.
Polarising.
Sorry,
On a coal fire.
aren't we supposed to be apolitical? Yeah, imagine all the hairspray that she had in her hair. That wouldn't last too long.
Oh,
would
that'd
it?
be glad we got in
Yeah.
seconds. Sure.
Just to make it clear to the listeners, we're not assigned to any party. We're not getting paid by any political
I
party.
don't actually. I don't vote because I'm not in the UK. You see, so I don't even give a shit about your politics.
I'm in the
we've
UK
got
and I don't vote, so I've not got an excuse. Well, I guess I have. They're all shit. I mean, there's
Well,
my excuse.
I'll tell you right now, guys, with not even a loose connection to MMA and politics, literally, if you're in the Solihull area, please vote for Rosie Sexton to be your MP. You remember Rosie?
Rosie Sexton.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Rosie Sexton.
Candidate for the Green Party. Like, literally.
Oh, that's a shame.
Rosie is awesome. She's the coolest person I know. And the one thing about Rosie is the only person that when I go to post stuff on Facebook, I immediately think to myself, am I going to get inboxed by Rosie? What will she think of me when I post this? I always ignore that internal dialogue and post it anyway. But yeah, she's one of the most level-headed people I know. So if you are going to vote for anyone and you're in her constituency, vote for Rosie. Get her in there. All right?
It was one of my first interviews, man. I interviewed Rosie, 2015. That was a while ago. Just like a wonderful human being. It's a shame that she's green though. Does that mean she's going to like tell me to go vegan and stop driving my car and shit like that?
Hey, I'm telling you right now, you won't have to buy a Tesla. You won't have to support Greta Thunberg or any of that.
Fuck for that.
You won't have to live in a cave in Ben Nevis. Yeah.
No.
Right. Did that for a few years. It didn't work out too well.
Literally, I tell you something, guys. That Green Party, they're a little bit out there with some of the stuff they come out with, but let's put it this way: politics is fucked now anyway, man. Well, I'm all for the Joe Rogan press the reset button, man. I want to be like at the end of that movie World's End, where we go back to the Dark Ages.
Right? Yeah.
That's exactly what I tell you. What, man? 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. All of that shit. I'm ready for that. I've been training.
Pressing the button, repressing the button is fine, but you got to make sure you got something better. Be careful what you wish for. Having said that, anything's better than Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn over 3 rounds. You know what I mean?
Fuck, man,
Imagine the fucking state of those gender fluid ring girl people that they're going to get in. I won't be whistling at any of them. I know that much.
It's not too rosy here north of the border either. You get fucking Braveheart. What's her name? Just like constantly banging on about independence, man. She does my nut in. And so many other Scottish people as well. Like everyone I speak to, I don't know how she gets in bed. Why the fuck are we talking about politics anyway? I know that question come in. Yeah. Let's move on. This does my nut in. Who we got? At Uncle Yagi. Is John Jones jealous of Izzy and Marty's friendship?
Nope.
I don't know.
I didn't know they were friends. Yeah.
I guess they're both Nigerians when it suits them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. John Jones doesn't care about anything apart from his next piss test. Trust me.
Nobody cares about that.
Let's just address the elephant in the room here. You know what I mean? John Jones will go down as the only guy ever to have totally just. Everyone thinks that Conor is a car crash. John Jones is the man because there's God-given talent, and all he had to do was stick to yoga in the park and biblical tattoos on his tits, man. And that guy he would have been a rock star. But he just went full gangster, and like you never go full gangster. It's like going full caps lock. Once you go, you can't come back, boys. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, Johnny Bones Jones. I mean, he just he's still a phenomenal fighter. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Any piss test he takes, he breaks the fucking machine, doesn't he? He's just he's over.
Well, they seem to invent new rules for John when he does a piss test. It's
they start talking about picograms. That's right. Yeah, and the picogram gets smaller and smaller when they describe it. I know. You're right.
Yeah. A millionth of a gram, apparently.
I know when they compare it to salt and all that, it's like, what's with the science lesson? Did you fucking take steroids or not, you dick? Anyway, Jared Costain. Covington is the best ever. He's the people's champ, and Dan Lambert, professional hitman. He's also the guard of Trump family. America lives chaos.
Huh?
I don't know. That's not.
Is that a comment?
That's just not even a coherent. It's not a question, and it's not a coherent comment. So,
hey, John, I want to know if that kid took his Ritalin today, and if he did, he didn't take enough of it. That's the first thing, right? Because that makes complete and utter no sense. Colby is a very poor Ric Flair copy, and you'll grow into it. You know, like he mentioned the people's champ there. All of these gimmicks take time. You know, especially now in MMA because the gimmicks are only just coming in. Like
Mick, don't you think his beef with Dana is pretty genuine, and it reminds you of Steve Austin versus
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon? Yeah, they could play on that, couldn't they?
Yeah, well, you see, this is the thing. He has got some beef, and it's the one thing about Dana is Dana White is Don King with alopecia. He doesn't give a flying fuck as long as he is being made, right?
Yeah, money.
And he will walk over anyone as long as everyone now. It's like, oh, the UFC. Dana really isn't that connected to it. Dana is connected to it, and not only is he easily the best heel character ever, better than Vince McMahon ever was, right? He's that. But the other thing as well is he truly still believes and loves the product, right? So. Yeah, has he held Colby back a little bit? Yeah, he has. Is Colby going to prove? Yeah, hopefully he will do because I think this fight's going to be.
But when you're a 0.5 billionaire, you don't really care about many things, do you?
No, well,
I imagine. I don't know.
Boys, as we said off air, there comes to a point where you're that successful that you just have to go to extremes, right? And that's the thing is
to get some stimulation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Dana White now has got that much money that literally he would do this for fun anyway. Now,
yeah, of course.
There's a point where you get to this process without sounding like Alan Sugar. You know what I mean? There's a point where you get to this process where you're like, well, I'll just do this for free now anyway. And literally, that's where he is now. I think Colby, 2 or 3 more fights, he'll get in. And the one thing about these gimmicks. And Conor McGregor was the guy who brought it all in, was these gimmicks are getting ordinary punters now watching. Yeah, we had the AJ fight last night, and a lot of guys were really big for it. But they're really up for the fight. But MMA now is taking over, and the thing is, the money doesn't trickle down to the fighters the way that it does in boxing. You know what I mean? So we're getting into the glory years now of MMA. Well, if you're a promoter now, you're going to make a shitload of money because you'll still get guys. You'll still get guys to fight in the UK. You'll still get guys to fight for 10 grand.
But the problem is, MMA has a promotion, a business, a fully fledged private public company, and that's why the money doesn't trickle down. In boxing, you have effectively an agent who's your promoter, and you give him 10, 20%, and you get 20, 30, 40, $50 million. So, and it's a promotion. Run is the governing body, hands out the belts. In boxing, you've got WBA, WBC governing body. So
you're so right, my friend. Like literally, people have no idea. There's a reason why MMA's spiritual homeland, its spiritual home is Vegas, because it's full of goombas, right? It's full of like connected made men running the show. And you know, when it comes to like legitimacy, we were talking about Mark Goddard earlier. Mark's one of the really, really legitimate men with integrity in that sport, right? But he's the guy in the ring doing that. You see all the backroom stuff that's going on? That is Shirley Crabtree and his brother. You know, like Big Daddy. Do you remember when Big Daddy was coming down?
Fuck yeah.
And then everyone was like,
I do, yeah. Giant haystack.
Referee. Yeah. Like Shirley Crabtree, right? Big Daddy's brother ran the promotion. You know what I mean? Because he didn't get there on his abs, did he? You know what I'm saying? Like, having said that top hat was pretty fucking smart. You know what I mean? He looked like a fat lead singer.
A good wardrobe. Aye.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Good times, man.
Last one from Twitter is Darren Keska, who says, I'm so embarrassed that a portion of the US MMA fan base that are extreme left, liberal, emotionally broken and can't support our country and people like Colby. If you win that title, please be a champion for the values we're missing in this country. Let's go.
Boys, before I answer, is there any chance I could just finish my smashed avocado here? Because
and your sandals and your hipster beard.
Who is this guy? I've never met a liberal yet that likes this game. Every single guy that you meet, they're still like, all right, don't get me wrong, you'll find a load of jiu-jitsu guys who are vegan, atheists, and CrossFit. You know what I mean? The first rule of all of that is, like Fight Club. First rule is not to talk about it. First rule of veganism is to talk about it.
Yeah.
But in all three of those disciplines, by the way. But in MMA, they're still all meat eaters. I've never met an American yet that was like a liberal. I'm sorry, dude, but you got to get off Twitter. That's why he's fucked up. You got to get away from Twitter because they're all identifying as gender fluid on there. Get back onto Facebook, man. Old school. Get back to being an OG, man.
Because speaking of Facebook, we'll move on to those questions. We've got Mikey Johnson who's asking, the fuck is Aldo playing at cutting to 135? Guy looks like death.
He's going to get fucking murdered. Murdered.
He looks awful, doesn't he? He looks
He makes the fight, to make it a fight, he's going to get murked. Like, he is going to literally die. It's going to be disgusting watching that.
It looks like he's caught some sort of disease or something. It's horrible, isn't it?
It looks like Freddie Mercury in his last days.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, look like Tom Hanks at the end of Philadelphia. But it's not. Look, he looks like Lena Zavaroni's brother. And if you ask your mum and dad about that one, they'll be able to tell you.
It looks like Montgomery Burns in The Simpsons, with his ribs showing and everything.
Oh my God, yes, Monty Burns.
But why the move down? I don't get it. Like, if they're going to do a move, surely as you get older, the move is up, right?
So he talked about 155 years ago.
Yeah.
Because Barra was
apparently he was always big, wasn't he? Yeah.
And they were both talking about going up a weight class each, and obviously Barra would have took 145, and then Aldo would have took 155. But weird.
But Barra's been released.
He's been cut. From the UFC.
Yeah.
But he was cannon fodder at that point. Absolutely. They were giving him gimmies, and he couldn't win them.
He lost five in the last five, I think.
I think USADA's got a part to play with that, though, man. And I hate it. Yeah. That's the old, they're all on steroids. Anyway, Kieran Colby, we spoke about this earlier on, but I'll put his question in. How long will Mark Goddard, if he's the ref, let Colby and Usman engage on the fence for, even if both men are working? So is Goddard going to be the ref for this one, do we know?
I'm not sure.
I heard he is going to be. I personally think Mark will be allowed to. Yeah, I see very, very, very seldomly I see the criticisms coming out, allow them to work, yada, yada, yada. Mark can't win. It's either, if he's telling them, remember, you're in here for a fight, yeah? He gets chastised for doing that. Or if he stops too early, he's chastised for that. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Do they get any direction from the UFC? Any indirect direction from the UFC, the referees?
I personally would say with the UFC, they're not. They're certainly nowhere near as bloodthirsty as, say, Bellator or a Japanese promotion, right? But I would say that if the action's going, just let it go, right? So, and the other one as well is, it's not like Mark's working like fight nights, is it? He's working main events
all around the world.
Top shows,
so I've got a sneaking suspicion that when he's in there, it's basically going to leave this at your discretion, because a good referee will make or break it. That's what you have to remember. And I flippantly said earlier about Mazzagatti. Mazzagatti wouldn't be happy until someone dies. What was that woman's name years ago? The woman referee.
She was
awful. Fuck was her name?
Oh God,
Kate Winslow. Yeah, you're right. Kate Winslow. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. She looks like Jose Aldo in a wig when he's cutting weight. Yeah, awful looking woman. What? Like really awful, thin lip. Look like she's on heroin. Maybe I don't hope she isn't. But very, very thin looking woman.
You're not saying like the Grateful Dead, are you? Yeah.
Worse. The Walking Dead.
I think think Mark's getting a criticism because of, if you look at the fight with Tyron Woodley and Usman, he was reffing that and he stood up a couple of times, and I think that's where it's coming from people.
Well, you see, this is the thing. But if you remember, he actually sort of admonished them both to tell them that, remember, you're in a fight. I can't.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
exactly
he did.
what he
Because I'm not saying Usman was stalling, but Usman wasn't doing enough when he was on top. It was more of a control than landing any strikes, so to speak. He did obviously.
Oh, it was boring as fuck, man. I hated that fight. It was so boring. I know it was a title fight and you got to do what you got to do to win, but it was awful.
Yeah, but it's a grinder. It's like, every now and again when you see GSP grind out.
I know. I mean, I get it. At least GSP threw some elbows, and you know what I mean. Like,
at least GSP had some style. Yeah.
Yeah, but when he was grinding it out, it wasn't fun, was it?
No, you're right. I suppose not. Miles Painter, will Chase Hooper be a star to watch in the years to come at £145 if he is victorious at UFC 245?
Tough one, because you got some great guys. Ortega, Zabit, all that. But the 45 division's stacked with killers.
There's so many good stars in there, man. I mean, like, I never count out the Korean Zombie. It's a shame that Ortega's out of this fight now. Obviously, you've got
you got Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. Yeah, I mean, you're right, John. There is that. There's so many killers in that division, man. Who knows? I mean, that's the beauty of the sport. Who knows? Matthew Penny is asking, how many minutes did everyone throw up for when they saw Overeem's face last night?
Oh, I'll tell you,
nasty.
That was pretty. That was. There's a couple of clips on Twitter where you see that.
You see it moving, high.
Oh my good God! I'll tell you what, like special effects, man. They Avatar level special effects. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
That's why I want to kiss it better.
There you go. Who was the girl? Remember her ear exploded? What was that fight? Mick?
Oh, yeah.
Leslie Smith, was it?
Leslie Smith, that's it.
Leslie Smith, yeah, that's the one.
Guys, apologies, but the referee was Kim Winslow. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember she had like a mullet haircut. She looked like she could have been in Con Air or something.
You in Con Air, man. You love that film.
Yeah, same haircut as Cameron Poe, yeah?
Cameron Poe, yeah, man. What a film that is. Here, Bill Wilker, the man from MMA on the Rocks, is asking a good one. Now, here we go, guys. Would you rather have Overeem's face or Stephen Struve's balls today? Good question, man. That is a good question.
Definitely the face. The lips can just be.
Yeah.
Well,
just shameful.
Take away the pain, but leave the swelling when it comes to Stephen Struve's balls. Hey, boom, here all week. Neither would be my answer.
Yeah, those options aren't on the table, man. It's a split lip or a saggy sack. Anyway, we've got one more from Facebook before we wrap up, guys. Nicky Lowe, thanks so very much for getting in touch. Conor McGregor versus Cowboy. Who you got?
No, Cerrone. No, Conor. Bucket Conor.
I'm saying, believe it or not, I'm going to say Conor.
He does well against southpaws.
Yeah. I think he. And no disrespect to Cowboy, but Cowboy is a spent force now, So that's
I agree with that. I think.
Really, do you think so? I don't know, man. I mean, I know he's
on the way out. Maybe he's not spent, but he's on the way out. I'm not really that excited, but I think Conor wants to.
Gentlemen, I must apologise. I am a huge Cerrone fan from back in the day when he. He had the biggest pair of Thai boxing shorts ever, because every pair of shorts he had that little piece of his old shorts from the Thai boxing he were in. Yeah, loved the guy. But again, he's come to the point now where I just really wish he wouldn't fight anymore. Because
Ferguson made him look really bad. That's what I'm basing it on. Yeah.
I don't think. Do you know who I think? Whoever whoever the winner of that fight should go up against?
Go on.
You guys know who I'm going to go for.
Kevin Lee.
Masvidal, baby. Let's go. Oh,
Welterweight. Yeah.
Break the bank. If you want it, you really want. And I actually think this is all part of like some cunning master plan, like Blofeld in fucking one of the old James Bond movies. I think this is all a slow burner to get this going.
Is this one going to be a 55 or is it welterweight? I suppose it doesn't matter really.
It's welterweight, I think. Yeah.
Doing it welterweight? Wow, right, okay. I'm surprised at that. I thought Conor would try and get as close to lightweight as possible, but and given that Cowboy's been doing the lightweight thing recently. Right, so they're going to do this at welterweight. Man, I don't know, that probably changes things. I'm leaning more to Cowboy then. Because Conor, I don't know, I suppose you can gas it anyway, but is he more likely to gas because he has to put on, has to bulk up, so to speak? I mean, when he did the 2 Diaz fights, he was well under. He was like 167 pounds or something, so that was him trying to make the weight. I'm going for Cowboy. Fuck it. Cerrone all the way.
Yeah, fair play. Well, as long as Conor stays away from that Colombian-based diet of his, he'll be all right.
Yeah. Colombian coffee, you mean?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's exactly what
not the marching powder. That would be silly.
I was actually saying that he listened to a lot of Shakira. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. Those hips don't lie, Mick. That's what it is.
Yeah, drug tests do though, right? Yeah, that's right.
Superb. Well, there you have it, guys. UFC 245. Just round the corner. Thank you to everyone who got in touch with some awesome questions tonight. Then we'll be back next week with a reaction show, and then again the week after. It's that time of year again. MMA Awards show, 5th year in a row for us. I'm thinking best question wins, but I'm undecided this year. I want to mix it up, but there's loads of prizes. We've got CBD oil courtesy of Feel Supreme. There's a chance to win some boxing gloves thanks to our friends at A1 Fight Gear, and a chance to win some strength and conditioning equipment thanks to the guys at Beast Gear, thanks to Bed. In the meantime, let me thank our panel here at this time, starting with Mr. Mick, Tully. Mick, always a pleasure, my friends, and please come back on for the end of the year war show, but let everyone know where to check you out, and a pleasure as always.
Oh no, the pleasure was all mine. Thanks a lot for listening, guys, to my usual nonsense. You can catch me on all social media, my podcast www.micksmartialarts.com. That's MICKS Martial Arts. You'll also catch me in Woma Magazine. You catch me all over Woma TV. We just did a great interview.
Just because you travel doesn't mean you can't keep your routine. The more obstacles travel puts between us and our well-being, the more we strive to sleep well. At Westin Hotels and Resorts, we're focused on empowering your well-being. With our award-winning Heavenly Bed, you can get the restorative sleep you need and meet the challenges of the day head-on. Don't leave your well-being behind. We give you the choice to get up or to rise. Search Westin online to find out more. Westin, let's rise.
Christmas, a time for sharing gifts and laughter, and photos and videos. Make the most of it with a SIM-only deal packed with data from Tesco Mobile. Like a 10-gig SIM for just £13 a month. It's just one of the ways we're celebrating 100 years of great value. Go in store or search Tesco Mobile today. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Ends 29th of December. 12-month contract and unlocked 4G-enabled phone required. Terms apply. See tescomobile.com/terms.